Hi, so in a live stream and in a separate video I talked about in-ear monitors before and how much of a struggle it was for me and still is actually to find the right in-ear monitors for the purposes that I want to use them for. And in that video I also invited other manufacturers to maybe send me a set of theirs so that I can try them out and feature them on my channel. Well, for this video Xvive got in contact with me and they sent me their Xvive T9 in-ear monitors. So let's have a look and let's go. Now the company Xvive got in touch with me not specifically about in-ear monitors initially, because they carry a range of products which could be interesting for musicians in the studio as well as on stage. But in the end we chose these in-ear monitors for me to have a look at, because I already talked about in-ear monitors on this channel before, so that seemed the best fit. Now they did send these to me free of charge as a review model. But this video is not sponsored. Xvive does not get to see this video before I release it. And I will basically just give you my honest opinion about how they work for me for what I would like to use in-ear monitors for. So what are those use cases for in-ear monitors for me? Well, for me there are actually two use cases for in-ear monitors. One is in the studio, where I would like to use them for mixing as a reference basically. But even more so during live streams, because in that case I cannot turn on my main speakers because it would bleed into the microphone during the live stream. So I need some other kind of monitoring which is not too obvious, but which does give me a good sound, so I can talk to you guys about mixes that I'm showing during the live stream, for example. And then I want in-ear monitors that give me an accurate representation of the sound of what you are hearing on the live stream as well. So that's one use case. The other use case for me is on stage with my band The Wash. In the last year we switched to an in-ear monitoring system on stage, so that we don't have those big and loud wedges on stage anymore that blow your ears off and really require you to use earplugs already as well. So we decided to use in-ear monitors instead, because they can provide you a personalized mix and they also provide a very consistent sound wherever you're moving on stage. Now with that said, it's been quite a struggle for me to find the right in-ear monitors for those two purposes. Frankly, I haven't found them yet, because the in-ear monitors that work on stage did not really work for me for mixing and live stream duties. But let's have a short look at the ones I tried already, so you have a bit of an overview of my frame of reference. But if you want to skip that part of the video, you can check out the table of contents below the video and immediately move to the part that's talking about the Xvive T9s. So initially I started with these Mi Professional M6 Pro noise isolating in-ear monitors. Pretty cheap as you can see. And I started with those because they were recommended in a video by Adam Neely. But I have to say I did not like them very much at all. The sound was quite bad for use in the studio or during live streams. And the earplugs that came with them did not really provide enough isolation on stage. So next up I tried the Audio-Technica AT-H-E70, which as you can see are a lot more expensive. And again, I was really disappointed actually. Build quality was great, it probably had the best in-ear monitor cable. And even though this one had 3 drivers where the Mi 6 Pro only had 1 driver, the sound was only marginally better to me and they did not really fit very well in my ears either. So that may have contributed to the sound not being so great. But on stage, isolation was just not enough. And I actually returned these. Now next up I tried the Shure SE215CL, which did fit better in my ears. So these are the ones I'm currently using on stage with my band The Wash. Just for the fact that they provided the best sound isolation so far. They came with these foam earplugs, which you compress and then they expand again when you put them in your ears. And that really dampens the outside sound from, for example, the PA or loud drums that are playing behind you. So that you don't have to turn up the volume to the max on your in-ear monitoring system, which can damage your ears again, of course. The sound I feel is not great, but I think on stage it's not really that important because there's so much bleed coming in from everywhere that you really cannot tell the difference between great and medium sounding in-ear monitors anyway. At least I can't so far. But let me know if your experiences are different in that. Anyway, my current choice for on stage, but I'm not using them in the studio for mixing or live stream reference because the sound is not quite good enough for that. Now next up I got sent the SimGod EM6L, and these are also still pretty cheap. I think they're more geared towards the audiophile market, so for people that appreciate listening to music on these in-ear monitors. And even though the build quality of these things were really great, they have the best cable of all the in-ear monitors that I kept so far. My initial problem was that they did not fit very well into my ears. And then you can't really judge the sound quality either. But after getting some replacement ear tips from SpinFit, they did work a lot better for me, and these are the ones I'm currently using for live streaming and for referencing a mix on in-ear monitors in the studio. Now in the meantime, I'd also heard about a very cheap pair of in-ear monitors, 7Hz Clinical 02, and as you can see they are really cheap and you probably have to order them from overseas and they might take a while to arrive. But the reason that they attracted my attention is that they got such excellent reviews on Audio Science Review, which contains reviews on a lot of in-ear monitors actually, mostly for audiophile use again as I believe, and these ones got really a lot of very favorable reviews from the people that rated them on this site and also from the main admin and moderator Amir. So I was very curious to try them out. And of course the build quality of these, especially the cable, is not great. They're very cheap. And the sound quality, well, they're not convincing me yet. I think they're quite neutral, but again, maybe I have problems fitting them properly in my ear, so I might also have to order again replacing ear tips to have a better listen, but they have not really made my cut yet. Now all of these opinions and experiences with these in-ear monitors are of course very personal. They're related to my ears, my ear cavities. How do all of these fit into my ears? Do they fit well enough to give a good sound? Do they fit well enough to give sound isolation on stage? It's very personal stuff, so you probably really have to try them yourself to see how they work for you. But I hope this video may at least give you an idea about which one you might want to give a go. Now with all of that history out of the way, let's have a look at these Xvive T9s and how I feel they compare to all of these other ear monitors that I tried before. Let's go to their website. Yeah, so this is the Xvive website with the product page of the T9s. And from that we can learn that they are dual balanced armature drivers. They are hand assembled sound isolating earphones with a 3.5mm earphone jack, which is pretty much the standard of course. They come with a carrying case, cleaning tools, and with durable and replaceable cables. We'll have a close look in a moment at what you get exactly when you buy these. But over here you can see some more details about the drivers. The T9 is endowed with two balanced armature Knowles drivers, one of the industry's largest and most powerful mid-bass drivers, and a custom-tuned, custom-ported micro tweeter. Along with a custom unified crossover, these cutting-edge components have the headroom to accommodate whatever EQ adjustments any user may desire. Nonetheless, T9 comes perfectly balanced with a responsive and detailed sound signature that is not overly hyped or colored, so audiophiles will enjoy a fulfilling listening experience right out of the box. Yeah, related to that EQ, I think they're probably talking about the fact that a lot of people like to EQ their headphones or in-ear monitors, especially when you're using them in the studio or on a stereo system, for example, to make the sound experience a bit more as if you were listening on speakers. And I actually have a separate video about that, which I will link in the description below. Now, if you like this video or find it useful, please give it a big thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm so that it gets shown to more people. Subscribe to the channel and ring the little bell icon so you get notified when I publish another video. You can also support me by using the super thanks button below the video, which is a virtual tip jar, or by buying anything via the affiliate links in the description to one of these stores. If you buy anything at that store after clicking one of the links in the description, I will get a small commission on whatever you buy, which is always greatly appreciated. But back to the T9s to see what's exactly in this set when you get it. Because these are the T9s, as you can see, they are clear, you can see through them, you can see all the components inside of them. They have a pretty nice cable which fits around your ear when you're wearing them. They come with 3 sizes of ear tips, of which I'm using the smallest at the moment. And as you can see, they are a bit battered already. On the website, they're actually shown with more ear tips than I got, because I only got these black ones, and on the website there's also yellow ones and red ones. Maybe that's because this is a review model, but I appreciated these ones anyway, because these are the foam ones, which give you better sound isolation. So those are the ones I would be using anyway. And some other in-ear monitors do not actually come with these foam ones, so then you need to buy them additionally if you appreciate those. Now there's also a cleaning tool included here. They've also included an adapter for the plug, so you can also plug them into a bigger 1/4-inch headphone output. And finally, they've also included a pretty nice carrying case to store them in and take them to wherever you want to go. Pretty small and quite protective because it's a hard shell case. Now initially when I tried these, I thought that even with the smallest ear tip, they did not actually fit into my ears. Because they did not feel the same to me as, for example, the Shure in-ears, which really fit into that inner part of your ear over here. And as you can see, if you compare the size, they are just much smaller. The Xvive T9s are a lot bulkier really. However, after getting used to that feeling, it appeared that the actual tips of the earphones were well lodged into my ears anyway, despite the fact that the big bulk was sticking out a bit, which I was not used to. So they did actually fit properly into my ears, and I could also judge the sound quite well. Now I have to admit the build is quite nice. It's a pretty sturdy cable with an additional protection around the part that wraps around your ears. It stays around your ears quite well. Much better, for example, than the cable from the Shure in-ears, because that's very rigid and doesn't bend very well. And this one fits and stays much better around your ears. Like I mentioned, they are quite bulky, so you really have to get used to that. At least I had to. But comfort-wise, they're actually pretty okay. They feel quite light, and because they're not really lodged in your ear shell, you don't feel them as much as the Shures. I like the cable of the SimGod EM6Ls slightly better. It's nicely braided, for example, but still it's a nice cable on these T9s as well. Now, when it comes to sound isolation, I already mentioned that it's very important on stage, because you want to block out the sound from the PA, the loud drummer behind you, and maybe some blaring amps. Isolation-wise, they're not as good as the Shure SE215s in my ears. I think they go in a bit deeper, and the ear tip that came with them was a bit bulkier, but still the isolation is much better than the other in-ears I tried. Now sound-wise, it's always quite hard to compare in-ear monitors. You have to first get the other ones out, then put the other ones in, and that takes probably like 30 seconds or so. So it's not easy to quickly switch between them to judge the sound. But to me, I did quite like the sound quality of these. I don't think they're as neutral as, for example, the SimGods or the 02s that I tried before. So for use in the studio, for example. Compared to those, they have some added bass, but that could actually also be due to the better ear tips. But that's quite welcome on stage actually, because it's hard to hear bass through in-ear monitors on stage anyway. But that made me actually quite like the sound of these. They don't have as much bass as the Shures, the SE215s. But I think they're in a nice middle ground between the Shures and the more neutral 02s and SimGods, for example. Now I wonder whether any of you have any experiences with these Xvive T9s. If so, let me know in the comments and tell me whether your experiences align with mine, or whether I just heard it completely different from the way you hear it. Which is always possible, of course, because everybody has different ears, and it's really such a personal thing. And I would also like to hear from you if you have experiences with other in-ear monitors. If you hear my experiences, maybe you have some recommendations for me, let me know. And finally, if you're a brand which carries in-ear monitors and you feel that they might be suitable for me, let's get in touch and I might feature them on this channel as well. Now, if you like this content about in-ear monitors, maybe because you're looking for some yourself as well, I also made a video on the SimGod EM6L. Check it out, enjoy, and see you soon.